I want to start this video off by saying that this topic is going to be a bit different than the usual things that I cover. And while it is interesting, I sort of want to provide a disclaimer before we get started, as I have always been someone who has immense respect for those that defend and serve their country. The Army and any other branch of the military can be a good opportunity for many people, and I want to make it crystal clear that I'm not against anyone joining the Army as a whole, because it can definitely work out for a lot of people. I've known quite a few acquaintances that didn't know what they wanted to do with their life out of high school, or they just took a couple years after graduating, and they chose to go into the Army or the Navy, and when they got out they had a decent savings, they felt a pretty good sense that they were doing important work, and they had their school being paid for when they finally decided to go back. I also had a family friend who was a Marine that went to boot camp, and he used to come home for Thanksgiving because he couldn't make it home with his family, and so he came and stayed with our family. They were definitely doing very well for themselves when they got out, and while a lot of people make the most out of serving their country, but it's definitely not for everyone, just like not everyone is going to make YouTube videos and so on. And with that being said, there has been kind of a developing story that I want to cover that I find incredibly bizarre and a little bit sketchy. So let's get into that. So if you've been on Twitter recently, you've probably come across the account US Army Esports, as they've blown up as a result of quite a few controversies involving some of the stuff they post. The reason these tweets have caught the internet's attention is because you'd normally think of the US Army as this very serious, structured, and professional organization, but here you have them pandering to meme culture, and it comes off as super disingenuous, as like this hello fellow kids kind of mentality. Now furthermore, there's been a lot of frustration as a result of this Twitter account and organization being made inside the US Army, because why the hell are my tax dollars going into the US Army having a Fortnite team? And on the surface level, this looks like the government is just straight up wasting money, more so than they usually do. Many of their tweets have gone viral as a result of this complete shock and awe of something so morbid and bizarre, and as a result, I've started to follow the situation out of the corner of my eye. And as you start to dive into what the organization is all about, it is kind of questionable. As much as it is a stereotype that the government likes to waste money, there's usually still a purpose behind something that is being funded. There has to be some endgame or general purpose to this organization, and that's where this sort of conspiracy, it's not really conspiracy, it's basically the purpose of the organization, has started to turn a few heads. For one, if you look up the purpose of the United States Army Esports team, the About page can actually be found on the recruiting military website, where it clearly states, "Soldiers have expressed a strong desire to represent the Army in competitive gaming. They have shown Army leaders how gaming can help us connect to young people and show them a side of soldiers they may not expect. This initiative will help make our soldiers more visible and relatable to today's youth." Members of the esport outreach teams are not recruiters. They will be in a support role to help young people see soldiers in a different light and understand the many different roles people can have in the Army. They will help the Army address the growing disconnect in society. Competitive online gaming will be a part of the duties of the esports team. Soldiers on this team will travel to various events and compete for the Army. This statement clearly states that the purpose of the team is to connect to young people and make our soldiers more visible and relatable to today's youth. Now, I don't know about you, but the term youth literally means the period between childhood and adult age, meaning they're trying to influence people who can't go into the Army yet, but will be at a certain point. Some people have likened this to grooming, and while I see no problem in youth looking up to people who serve their country, this just seems very odd, because instead of just like having some soldiers who served in the Army come, stream on Twitch and share some cool stories, the people that they actually have working on the streaming team have to go to recruitment training before they can start streaming. In a Navy document on their website, it states the qualifications to become a team member are identical to the qualifications for recruiting duty. On the fourth point, it says team members will operate at a facility specifically designed for the team to practice, stream, and compete. Once the team members have checked into CNRC, they will develop a routine, streaming cadence, encouraging followers and viewers to interact with the members and recruiting content. As many of you know, younger audiences tend to be more impressionable, and when you've got a bunch of kids who grow up playing Call of Duty and look up to their favorite Twitch streamer, It is very, very uncomfortable to think about. Now, it's one thing to just go on and try to recruit people into the army. That's totally fine to advertise and have a platform to do so and build it up on Twitch. I don't see any problem with doing that, but it is borderline deceptive to do something like this.
Play games, share our stories and our experiences with our entire time in the Navy. We're not here to recruit anybody. We just want to connect with the gaming community and be good representatives of the Navy. But we do realize, right, naturally, when people watch it and they hear all these things, our lives, they might be interested in joining the Navy. And we're happy to point them in the right direction, right? You can go to Navy.com. We've got a link to it on our site, and you can find out everything you need to know about joining the Navy. But for those of you that are under 17, right, just stay in school.
Yes, this is pretty sketchy, as the Navy streamer is basically saying, yeah, we aren't here to recruit people, but if you want to join and stuff, here's the website. This is like that one dude in all the YouTube comments saying, I really hate those people that make posts advertising themselves, but I'm an up-and-coming artist and I'd really appreciate it if you checked out my music. I don't know, this whole thing just feels very deceptive. And once again, I have no problem with people joining the Army or any branch of the military, assuming they know what they're signing up for. But it's a different thing for a young kid who might not have the best perception of what they're getting themselves into. It's a big commitment and isn't something that should be taken lightly. And if all of that wasn't bad enough, get this. The US Navy esports team has been caught in a scandal recently doing a deceptive giveaway for an Xbox Elite controller. And instead of linking directly to a giveaway page, it linked to a recruiting page. This caused a massive amount of backlash and even more trolling for them to come their way, and Twitch was even forced to have them take it down, and they even went as far as to admit it was deceptive, while though they did backtrack saying that you could get to the giveaway page through another means, but ultimately that link was sending people to a recruiting page. And to top that off, if they're not here for recruitment, it's pretty interesting to note that they all follow just gaming personalities and other gaming teams on Twitter, and then they follow the US Army recruitment official Twitter. So yeah, I really want to know what you guys think about this whole thing. If you guys don't agree with me, or maybe you think this is completely fine, if you've wondered what this esports team is all about and you've seen it pop up on Twitter, there's your answer. And in regards to the ethics of this outreach, what are your thoughts on the US Army targeting youth as a way of recruitment? Is it sketchy, or am I making a big deal out of nothing? On the flip side of things, I can see another argument being made for service out of high school being good for discipline, but at the same time, I can't help but feel like maybe this is a case of selling kids on something that could be deceptive. On a small side note before I end this video, I want to say that I've been uploading on my second channel. This was an impromptu video. That's why I didn't do early access for patrons or credits or anything like that. This has just been a format I've been doing on my second channel, like my old style of content. So if you want more content, I do have it on Slightly Sociable. I want to leave this channel mostly for more documentary stuff and bigger projects, and that are higher production value. But if you want to go check out the other stuff, I will leave a link to my second channel down below. And there's at least 3 videos you guys can go watch, very similar to my older content. Anyways, that being said, this is Barely Sociable, and have a good night.